Thank you, sir. अच्छा visual है। आ रही है। अरे क्या सही बोला राइट में सर, राइट में। अरे वेट वेट ओके या थैंक यू सर।
Universal human emotions. It's a film that has taken Oscar-nominated, two-time award-winning director Ashwin Kumar on a journey spanning 5 long years. Without taking any more much time, I would request that the trailer be played for all of us to watch. Thank you. For a quick question, sir, if you don't mind. Sir, I believe you've already watched the film. So I wanted to ask you, what makes this film special? And what is your reason to support it?
Well, I bet everybody who watched this trailer felt that lump rise up their throats when the girl asks, "Why don't you tell us?" In this age and time when it is getting impossible to find out what is true and what is a lie, we're living in an age called the post-truth age. Fake news is a reality. The responsibilities of brave, audacious, honest filmmakers to go there on the ground, pluck out stories from the hearts of the people who live there, and then, with great responsibility, with great dedication, give expression to what is playing out in your backyard. The child asks, "Why don't you tell us?" Isn't this what we all are asking? Why don't you tell us? How do we run our lives when you don't have one single source through which you will get what is anything close to the truth? Storytellers, filmmakers have been the torchlights. They have been the source of inspiration. They have instilled hope. They have shown the direction to a lost society. Recently, we all saw what happened in Christchurch. 49 people were massacred. And it was a crafted for social media event. The internet was a platform. Everybody in every part of the world prostrated before that unit which came into their homes and started distributing it. Terrible times. And then it's a tragedy that a film like No Father in Kashmir, a filmmaker who puts his film together has to run from pillar to post, beg people to get it through. What are we trying to do? What are we, in this age and time, is there anything called censorship? What is this picture saying? It is saying, I have the audacity to look at the truth. The greatest epic which mankind has been blessed with, the Mahabharata, came from the battle of Kurukshetra. In that moment of darkness, he who locks the eyes with the darkness discovers a light which Ashwin has discovered in this movie. And I think that light is very important to reach the people. So it is this that makes me stand here, applaud this filmmaker, and say, India is safe as long as filmmakers like this are alive. The humankind is safe as long as filmmakers like him are alive. Otherwise, we belong to the dream factory. We are going to numb your mind with senseless entertainment and say, God is in heaven and all is well with the world. Here comes a filmmaker who jolts you and says, get up, this is your life, this is the world, look at it. So I come to applaud his spirit, and I request and I urge the media to support that spirit, because it is not Ashwin, it is you, it is me, It is the future of our children. It is the future of the children of our children. Let us dedicate ourselves to the voices which are free, which have the guts to stand up and say, we will not say things that you want us to say. We will say things as we see them. We are human beings. We have an independent vision, and we will say things our way. That is the founding fathers' gift to us. This great country has given us the right to express ourselves the way we think is right for us. Let us fight for it, and I think a fight for this picture is to fight to preserve that.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't think anybody could have articulated it better than you did, especially keeping this kind of a topic in mind. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I'd now like to call on Ashwin, of course, the director of the film, along with Soni ji and Anshuman. Maya is here. Maya is here. Maya as well, please. Join us up here. Right. So, Ashwin, you are an Oscar-nominated...
Can we sit down?
Yes, please. I didn't know I was the one giving permission for that. I think you deserve a break now. Oscar-nominated film director, two-time National Award winner. I'm going to ask you two questions. First, on the poster outside I saw finally releasing 5th April. What's the story behind that? That's my first question. And the second question is if you could give all of us a little bit of an insight as to why this film.
Well, finally behind that, I think nobody could have articulated it better than you've just heard, Bhatt Saab. But we have struggled very hard against censorship. The problem in our country, unfortunately, is that before a screenwriter puts pen on paper, his first thought is not for his character, but it's of the Film Censor Board. And this is the biggest tragedy that I think that, I mean, we talked about our founding fathers. I think they'd be turning in their graves right now if they knew that this is the condition of what Article 19 has been brought down to in our Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression and thought. And what are they trying to, what are they objecting to? They're objecting to the fact, and it is a very unfortunate fact, they're objecting to the fact that the armed forces of our country need to be protected by the Indian Film Censor Board. The world's largest standing army needs the Indian Film Censor Board as spokesperson for it, because they are not able to tolerate the few mishaps that have happened under their watch, which unfortunately has dragged the spotlight away from a film which is about compassion, a film which is about empathy, a film which could not have been more gentle and tender in its critique of our institutions, whether it is the armed forces, or it's the government of India, or in fact it's anybody. We live in intolerant, troubled times. And both these words joined together are what has caused us to think 6 times before we say anything, for filmmakers to censor themselves before they make their films, for writers not to write things, and for journalists who are outspoken to be gunned down in broad daylight. This is the tragedy of our country today. And what finally really means is that I made my application to Film Censor Board on the 15th of July. Today we are sitting, 15th of July 2018 is when I made my application to the Indian Film Censor Board. Today we are sitting in March of 2019, and I still do not have a film censor certificate. The FCAT ordered the CBFC to give us a film censor certificate, but yet they still have had some problems. They found some technicality upon which they have objected and sent the file back to the FCAT. Now this is the 3rd time it's going back to FCAT. So it went from Censor Board to FCAT, FCAT back to Censor Board back to FCAT, now FCAT back to Censor Board when they ordered it, and now we are back from Censor Board to FCAT. I'm confusing myself, frankly, in this whole combination. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that's why there was a sigh of relief when we thought that we've got our certificate. You know, maybe we've preempted this whole thing. We shouldn't have really announced because we don't know, you know, till that piece of paper. And the irony of this is, of course, that I can run my film on YouTube today without anybody objecting. What do you say? What's your second question? Sorry.
I think the passion with which you've spoken obviously reflects the amount of time and effort that has gone into getting this even till here. And I hope, as I hope everybody does, that free speech and freedom of expression is not clamped down and this film gets to see the light of day finally, and you get that piece of paper in your hand.
You asked me why this film. Yes, okay. Well, the reason I made this film, it didn't actually occur to me till I actually had finished making it. I think the Kashmir issue, we are sitting on a tinderbox, as we know, with two nuclear armed nations facing each other, and Pulwama only showed us how fragile this alleged peace is. Kashmir issue is not going to be solved by the bureaucrats in either Kashmir nor the separatists. I beg your pardon, the bureaucrats in New Delhi nor the separatists in Kashmir. Nor is it going to be solved by the kids who are throwing stones and picking up guns and causing dastardly acts like Pulwama. They are too trapped in their own histories. They haven't had the opportunities and the choices that young people have in the rest of the country. The Kashmir issue will be solved by young people of today, the millennials, who are sitting in our schools and colleges and who are the first time they've gone for jobs in their 20s, early 30s. Because these people are not carrying the traumas of partition, nor are they carrying the burdens and the prejudices of their parents and grandparents' generation. These kids have, this is the biggest opportunity we have as a country today. They have relatively open minds, notwithstanding Arnab Goswami, who is poisonous, and his whole ilk is poisonous. But notwithstanding the 24/7 barrage we get on television today, these are people who have relatively open minds, who can, if provided a narrative of compassion and empathy, which is what my film tries to do, try and ask a very simple question. Wahan pe kaise rehte hain? It's a very simple question. What are they like? What are Kashmiris like? And the fact that we have to sit in India and ask, what are Kashmiris like, as if we are asking about an alien from another planet, shows how little information and how much government propaganda and media wash has alienated the populations of this grand nation with one of its most troubled and fragile parts. One of the parts which is a minority and also is contiguous borders with two of the most hostile nations towards us today. The flawed government policies that have brought us to this point, which have led us to alienating this entire nation, where children of 20 years old put bombs in a car and drive it into a convoy of buses and massacre people. What have we brought them to? And the young people of today are the ones who can get up and ask the question, and I urge them, please go to Kashmir. Don't go to this Gulmarg and Pahalgam and do this boating and pony riding, but go into their villages. Speak to the people like I have. They're very warm, gracious, welcoming, and hospitable. And understand. If not that, just watch my film.
Thank you for that, Ashwin. Okay. Soni ji, let me start off by saying it's always such a delight to see you act on screen. I would like to know a little bit about your character in the film, and specifically to you, why this film?
So I play a woman whose son has seemingly vanished into thin air. And so she's one of the people, many people in Kashmir whose sons have disappeared. Why I wanted to do this film, or why this film? So Ashwin is very kind to share the film with me, the script with me, even before he cast me, and even offered to cast me. That's another story. But when I read the film, the first thought that came to my mind is, oh my God, here is a man who knows Kashmir like nobody else that I've ever come across before. We've made so many films on Kashmir, and some of them have been wonderful films, but they've always been sort of, peppered with, or sort of checkered with a lot of other things and, issues and, action or drama or love story or whatever. But here, I think, was a very simple film that I read, which talked about the real Kashmir. you know, the people in Kashmir who are not leading dramatic lives. They're not in the forefront. They're not in politics. They're not on Twitter every day. But they live in the villages. They don't have a voice. They have a lot of heartbreak that they've gone through. And here is a film that speaks about their lives and them. And yeah, so this is why I felt that this film is so important that come what may, I would of course love to be a part of it, but even otherwise, this is a very important film that needs to be made. And hats off to Ashwin for bringing. Also, it's a film which is not very, you know, you see the trailer and you think, oh, it's a very serious film. It's a wonderfully humorous film, apart from all the, you know, other things in it. It is also a love story. So it's so many things, and it really deserves to get the censor certificate and be watched by people. The other thing I feel very strongly about is about reality, truth, and facts. Truth has many faces. Your truth is different to my truth. But reality and facts they exist. You can't wish them away, no matter what you do. So my feeling is if we can have discussions and debates in Parliament, on television, here, there, everywhere, books come out about reality, about the reality of Kashmir particularly. Why can't we have films on that? I'm a great believer in the healing power of truth. And I feel the people of Kashmir really deserve that in their lives today. They deserve acknowledgement of what they've gone through. They deserve to be understood. They deserve to be healed. And one of the ways we can do this, apart from what, you know, government outreach programs and all kinds of other things, one of the ways we can do this is through cinema. So this is that. That is also why I feel this film is so, so important. And I pray that things go well for it as it goes along.
Thank you. I think that statement, the healing power of truth, is what encompasses this film. Anshuman, so we've all seen your growth in your career, starting from your debut in a cult film like LSD to the recent Angrezi Mein Kehte Hain, where you play a young, charming boy in love. In this film, however, No Fathers in Kashmir, you play the role of an army major. What was it about this role and this film that appealed to you and convinced you to sort of be a part of it?
Firstly, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. What's up? You inspire. Thank you for being you. The man on my right is the reason I was grateful to him. I have a lot of respect and regard for him as a maker. I'm a huge fan of his film Little Terrorist, which went to the Academy Award. It was nominated. And I think we as a nation don't sometimes pay attention to the finer details. He was the youngest man to be nominated from India at the Oscars. I think we should just take a step back and make light of that truth, like ma'am said, and pay attention to the detailing his cinema has offered about the region. Coming to the region, he offered me a role which my gurus all my life have told me to go away from the trend as an actor, and that's where the magic lies. It's very easy to stand here and say, how's Josh? Hi, sir. It's easy, I can do that. Anybody can do that, any actor worth his salt. But to see the gray side of, everything has a gray side. There's a black and white to everything. Here's a filmmaker who's trying to tell you that there are grays in the region which we need to pay attention to and which we need to know about. We have the right to know about. We should know about. When I shot in Kashmir one day, it's a small anecdote. I walked out in costume and the line producer told me, "Sir, bahar mat jaiye, koi patthar phek dega." And I was aghast. I was like, if I'm wearing an Indian Army's costume, why will people... it's a very small thing, but it just gave me perspective about so many things which I had never thought of. And even as an actor, it was... Yeah, so I'm really grateful to him, and I always will be, because I have a lot of love and regard for him as a filmmaker. And this film will always be special for me from that point of view. Also, he's an actor, and he's making his debut here, let's not forget. And he's done a really solid performance. I enjoy, film is a director's medium, but it's amazing to have a director who has a sense of the craft of acting. And when you'll see this film, you'll realize why he manages to take out the performances that he does, because he himself is so good at it. Having said that, the child in me is a huge fan of Kulbhushan Kharbanda and Soni Razdan. So the moment I knew that they are in the film, I wanted to go there.
Thank you, Anshuman, for that. Maya, hi. So in the trailer, we see you say this line, "Unhe pick up kara diya gaya hai," and to which the protagonist replies or asks you a question: "What is picked up?" Seems like that little innocent reply that she sort of gives you at that point in time. In that lies a very pertinent question, right? How did you come about doing this film, and what, according to you, is the key takeaway for No Fathers in Kashmir?
I came about doing this film because Ashwin kindly sent me the script. I read the script and I said yes. It was very simple. This is, I think, the key takeaway, actually. That's interesting that you phrase it like that, because for me it was very clear that this is a film and indeed a place that is bound in so much politics and so much grey politics, right? In the phrase as well, what does picked up mean? It's not just her question, right? It's a lot of people who don't know. I feel like we live in a day and age where we know more about, I don't know, the West. We know more about what's happening in Brexit, for example, than we know about, like somebody said, our own backyard. So for me, what the key takeaway was that this is a film, although it's so bound in all of this politics, it is not about it. It is a film that is so deeply empathetic, that shows you what life really is like. Not what you hear in the media, not the headlines, not who bombed whom and who is on whose side, and not numbers. Do you know, not numbers of how many died and how many survived. This is real. And the character that I play is real. She is based on a person by the same name. And there are so many like her. And even for somebody like me that knows a little bit, but it was eye-opening. It was a world that I had no idea. I still have no idea how we are living in a world where so many people live the way they do. And that's all. It's just much, much more than what we get to see. And we should, like Ashwin said, we should be doing more, seeing more, talking more, and watching more, making more films like this.
Thank you for that. Okay, I am going to take a step back now, and now the media, I'm going to open the floor to the media to ask them any questions that you'd like. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you. Questioning now, please.
Good afternoon.
One by one,
Who's
One by one, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
You've got the mic.
Good afternoon. This is Sakshi from E24.
Hello.
Yeah, here. My question is to the director. Today, patriotism has become either black or white. Like, especially if we see on social media, if you love your country, you have to love everything about it. And even if you dislike one thing, then you are an anti-national. So are you scared of the fact that the trailer is amazing, no doubt, but people might be scared to react to your film positively because they have this pressure? If I say anything, against the armed forces or the gray areas, as you have mentioned, they might be judged very badly. Are you scared of the fact of, like, that is the reality?
It's
like
the filmmaker's job to make people a little uncomfortable. It's my job. I can't think for other people. I can think for myself. My intention is to feel something, and using my craft, hope that you might feel the same thing at that moment that I want you to feel it. The rest is up to the forces of society as they move, and in our particular time, as you very rightly point out, this word patriotism has become very troublesome. My patriotism is very clear. It lies in telling the truth. Because as a person who sees something wrong, if I tell the truth, then I create an opportunity for that wrong to be corrected. If we start correcting all the wrongs, we become a better country. We give more opportunities to our young people. We create better institutions and have a more robust polity. This is my patriotism. My patriotism doesn't lie in branding, in sloganeering, in false aspirations, and my particularly patriotism does not lie in calling members of my own country the other and harassing anybody who doesn't believe in a very narrow-minded way of looking at the world.
Soni ma'am, could you also elaborate on that? Because the first person who gets the brickbat or the like positive feedback are the actors. So what do you have to say about that? Same question applies to you as well.
Yeah, it's true. We get all those. We get trolled tremendously all the time, and we get those ghastly remarks all over the place. I do believe that as an actor, actors have responsibilities. Like Ashwin said, as a director, he feels it's his job to make you uncomfortable. So I feel the same about actors, actually. I feel that we have a responsibility because we're people who are seen. Again, that's not, so one doesn't go around soliciting films where we can be responsible. It's just that when one comes along, and it's so rare, that you really want to be a part of that, a part of that. The other thing is I'm also half Kashmiri, and I, for some reason, have this great affinity towards, I have that connection to Kashmir as well. So, I'm always happy to be able to be a part of any film that's part of Kashmir. The other thing I feel also is that in terms of, like Ashwin said about patriotism, I so agree with that statement. I feel that if I criticize my country, it's not because I don't like my country, it's because I love my country. And again, that's my patriotism, my form of patriotism. I want to make my country into a better place for all of us to live in, for my children to live in, for their children to live in. And if we don't look at what's there in front of us and we look away from it and we allow things to get out of hand, because of other vested interests, then we are, as citizens, are not doing our job. So forget about being an actor, director, or anything. I think each and every one of us in this country, as a citizen, has a responsibility to make our country into a better place. And that does not mean advertising other people's agendas. It means looking at what is wrong and making it right.
And just quickly to add to that, you said the army is being shown in a grey light. From the trailer, when she asked the question. I think the film, what Ashwin's done, is shown you the truth. He's not taking sides. He's just giving you what the truth is. So you as an audience should go, see the truth, and decide for yourself. What is it? I mean, don't prejudge. And I think that's the biggest problem we, I think, as a society have. Because whatever we don't understand, we fear. I think we should get out of that.
Yeah, there are also many, many moments in the film where it's not about the army, it's just about so many other things, and those are also being shown to you as they are, and those you may agree with, that kind of a thing. So it's like there are always, nothing is black and white. There are shades to everything, and you need to awaken to that. Simple.
जी बहुत सारे घटना हैं. In fact, it's based on कहेंगे ना, based on 1,000 stories. शायद 1,000 stories से भी ज़्यादा. बहुत कठिन था ये स्क्रिप्ट लिखना, क्योंकि इसमें एक तो बच्चों की पिक्चर है ostensibly, और उसके अंदर मुझे चुनना पड़ा कि मैं किस मुद्दे पे बात करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि कश्मीर में कितने मुद्दे हैं आप ज़रा सोच लीजिए. और कितने alleged human rights tragedies हो रही हैं वहाँ पे, कि मुझे ये चुनना पड़ा कि मैं किस चीज़ को as a metaphor इस्तेमाल करके पूरे कश्मीर के बारे में शायद कुछ बता सकूं. और it has to also work as an entertainment. It's not a documentary film. तो लग गए मुझे 3-4 साल निकालने में से स्क्रिप्ट लिखते लिखते.
No, ma'am, that was a question that she assumed after having seen the trailer. I said that please don't assume. He's shown the truth. We are not taking sides here in any way. And we all have, like,
I'm happy to run the trailer for you. Why don't you watch it and then ask your question?
It's on YouTube also now.
Yeah, and it's on YouTube as well.
Ma'am, may I suggest you watch the trailer? It's on YouTube now. It's already online, so that might be a good starting point for you to understand.
You asking me whether I'm showing the ISIS in the film? ISIS doesn't exist in Kashmir, ma'am. It may have appeared, ma'am, but please understand the ISIS as an organization does not exist in Kashmir. You might have somebody taking a printout from their printer and putting a flag up. That nobody can account for. But the ISIS as an organization does not exist in Kashmir. And that's one of the, and that is something, no, not thank God. Please understand. That's the easiest thing that could have happened. But it has not happened. It should tell you something about the reasons why Kashmir is an issue. They're asking for self-determination. They do not want to be co-opted in the ISIS war. They have been rejected. ISIS has been rejected from Kashmir. Thank you for asking that question.
Having made this film, it's ridiculous to ask you if at any point in time you were really scared here, Ashwin. Yeah, but I am sure since people are so willing to sit on the truth and squelch it out of existence, at any point in time, has there been a real threat or fear for your life?
The fact that I use WhatsApp to do all my conversations now may be indicative. Whenever I'm in the valley, there are any number of investigation agencies.
Seriously?
Shall I go on? When we were shooting the film, we had to shoot under a false name.
Oh.
More? You want more?
Yes, sir. There's nothing false about this film, right? Eventually in its release.
That you see. Watch the film. I want to hear from you. You shouldn't ask me.
I will watch the film.
Inshallah. Thank you. देखिए अब CBFC के पास फिल्म है अपनी, मुझे तो बहुत मन कर रहा है आपको ये मैं जो आपका प्रश्न है फट करके जवाब दे दूं. सब हंसेंगे. नहीं, पर अभी नहीं बोलूँगा, बाद में. पर्ची आ जाए हाथ में फिर. ये उनसे अभी देखिए 5 अप्रैल में रिलीज़ है, इंशाल्लाह उसके पहले आ जाए. उसकी पहले नहीं आएगी तो फिर आप लोग फिर वो स्टोरी चलाएंगे इंशाल्लाह.
No, I just said I'm sure we're going to get it very soon. Yeah.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, will this the fact that you're confident you're going to get it very soon, are you planning a selfie with the Prime Minister for that?
What?
Is a selfie with the Prime Minister in the offing to ensure that the censor certificate comes through?
Has the Prime Minister been in touch? Has he done anything? The Prime Minister's been in touch for a selfie?
I don't think I'm on the Prime Minister's agenda. And I'm grateful for that.
Ashwin,
Ashwin, hi, my name is Arundhati. I'm from INS and I loved the trailer.
Thank you.
And what the girl was saying, like, you know, because I have many friends in Baramulla and Poonch and Anantnag area, so I mean, I that way I'm an insider. The only thing that I want to know, you see, empathy is needed. They are struggling for the basic human right, which I understand. But you said that, you know, how the politics is constantly going on. Don't you think that political solution, Kashmir demands a political solution, and not offering that political solution to resolve the issue is also a part of the politics? I'm sorry, I'm very emotional. That's when my
please don't believe me. I have the same emotion. I'm just being able to control it a little better because I had a little experience as an actor. That's all.
I just saw it and I'm like.
I have the same emotions. Don't worry. We are on the same page.
And I'm gonna definitely watch the film. If it is not releasing in the theater, it will definitely come on Netflix and I'm gonna watch it.
Please don't say that.
It will release in the theater. There's no way that it will not release in the theater.
Okay.
There's 100% release in the theater. But let me address your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kashmir is in a crisis of compassion at the moment. You know, the P word is used too often in Kashmir. It's being used for the last 70 years and we haven't really got much headway with that politics. Kashmir's issue is a crisis of compassion. Let's understand that very clearly. It's because people like us, you have friends in Baramulla and in various places, and that's great, but you're a very, very small minority. I mean, I don't know how many people in this room can say the same thing, and why not? We all have friends all over the country. If we actually go through our friends list, how many Kashmiris are there? And that is a problem. That is a huge problem. Just think about it. How come we know people from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, from Assam, from Mizoram, from everywhere else, but we don't know Kashmiris? You see, so it's a problem of human-to-human interaction. It's a problem of us not knowing what's going on over there and being kept away from that on purpose. Till you get ordinary people from the rest of the country to interact with ordinary people from Kashmir, this problem, alleged, is going to continue. It's only when people start demanding that their politics change through their elected representatives that change will start coming. The other problem is that none of our MPs or MLAs have a Kashmir policy. It is the most sensitive state in the country. But you ask your elected representatives, what is your Kashmir policy? There is none. So what are we talking about politics? Where is this politics coming from? It's coming from elected representatives. Neither do we know our compatriots over there. Neither do the politicians have any policies for Kashmir, which is other than, you know, sending more armed forces there, who also are standing on the battlefront, getting stoned, getting shot at, getting bombed. That's the only policy that we have. So where is the politics? Politics means of the polity. Polity comes from the people. Where are the people in this? There's only bureaucrats throwing pieces of paper back and forth. I hope that answers your question.
Are there any more questions?
कितना stir up हो सकती है? मैंने जानबूझ के नहीं रखा. Actually क्या था कि 5th of April में बाकी और कोई पिक्चरें आ नहीं रही थी, तो हमने सोचा कि जी हम ही घुस जाएं. आप नवंबर से कोशिश कर रहे हैं. जी हमारे आपको पता है कितने रिलीज डेट चेंज हो चुके हैं? 5. नवंबर, दिसंबर, जनवरी, फरवरी और अब मार्च में. हाँ अब अप्रैल, सॉरी अप्रैल में. अब मैं भूल ही गया हूँ, देखिए.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then we're going to end this part of the afternoon.